All right, everybody, welcome to our live stream, Kosher Talk podcast with BGW fans.
James, what are we doing here so early?
What are we doing here so early?
It's not 9, 10, 11, midnight.
No, it's not.
I think that might have been my fault.
Oh, that's
Zach,
right.
what are you doing?
Yeah. Can't do this late for some reason, huh?
I have some news that might have justified changing some plans.
News.
Welcome.
This
Yes.
is about Drakenspeyer, right?
Correct. that quad launching 40 free spin I mentioned in chat a minute ago.
40 free spin. Wait, what? I missed that.
Another one, Bob. You know, it's the dual. We're gonna get one in King's Dominion, and then Busch Gardens the next year is like gonna add one as well.
And they're gonna top it by 5 feet.
Exactly.
they're gonna do the Six flags thing.
Exactly.
It's the tallest because we put it on a pedestal.
All within the building, topping out at like 30 feet. No one expects it. No one expects the 40 free spin number 2.
They could do an indoor 40 free spin. That would be a first. Wouldn't it?
I think so, and hopefully only ever.
I'm so focused on like looking at so much other stuff right now. I'm like making sure the stream's up. I didn't hear what you said. What'd you say, Bob?
I said they could do an indoor 40 free spin.
Oh.
And that would be the only.
They'd really be heating things up, man.
And Zach said that it should be the only. I don't know. He's starting to sound like Airtime Mike.
I have a personal vendetta against 40 free spins, just like Airtime Mike.
Have you ridden?
I don't know.
Which one have you ridden?
I've only ridden Six Flags Great Adventures. Oh no, I also got New England's.
Okay, yeah, I've ridden those two as well. I like them.
New England's was better, I think.
I don't know. I don't really think there's that much of a difference between them. I like them all.
I didn't think so either. Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
They get weird. When I first rode the one at Great Adventure, it wasn't very. I mean, it was really. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and then I went to New England, and it felt so much more out of control. But then when I came back to Great Adventure, it felt a little more out of control.
Yeah.
So.
Doing
yeah,
so much stuff
I
right
don't
now. I'm sorry.
You need to multitask.
I'm going I'm going through Twitter, Instagram, Discord, OBS.
That'll be me after the article goes live. I will be.
That'll be you in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, shuffling off air and getting everything ready for everyone who's not listening. Though if you are listening, you all are. You're the good ones.
You're the good ones, exactly. You're the best. You're the best of us.
So Zach, we need to confirm this. Although,
yes.
Kind of interesting. Nikki Brown in the chat says that the clock tower reads 4:20 because that's your favorite time of day.
I have never noticed the time that our clock tower reads, but if it reads 4:20, that is delightful. I hope that's true.
It doesn't look good. No, it doesn't. Yeah.
It looks like it's more like 4 o'clock.
It's 4. Yeah, on the dot.
Okay.
It would be cool if you.
That would have been funny if
you
done that.
You could make a slight change to your logo.
I think Nikki has a good idea.
We need to. Maybe not 4:20, but some other Easter egg. It
Oh
needs an
yeah.
Easter egg.
Was that John Wick coaster? Was that a free spin? That is it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the one in where is that going? In the Middle East somewhere, right?
Dubai.
Is that record for BGW?
Yeah, Motion Gate at Dubai.
Yeah, Motion Gate.
Although I don't know, has it been confirmed?
Please don't. We don't need to get into
that. I don't know. Has it been confirmed to be completely indoor? It looks like it's going to be outside, but like the queue is inside.
Yes, I think that's.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting. It's supposed to open this year.
I'm pretty sure it's. But the queue is like built up, like it's huge facades, like skyscrapers almost, and it just kind of it might appear to some people that it is inside, but it's not. It's actually out.
Yeah, it's like it is kind of hard. I see what you're saying about
the image of it actually now.
Yeah, I'm looking at the image too, and it's kind of like it's hard to tell if the loading station may be indoors, but it seems like most of the ride might be out.
It's like
I don't know,
sticking outward out of the building.
Be interesting. That would be a cool thing though, like if you do like a Verbolten type thing, where it's enclosed with special effects. Coasters for our drinks. Nope.
Is your chaos over with, James?
His chaos is never over.
I'm currently posting on Instagram, and then I should be good.
The funny thing is my sister actually bought She's not a coaster enthusiast. I mean, she likes coasters, but she's not a coaster enthusiast. She actually bought roller coaster coasters, and it happened to be from Ace. So she's like the only person in my family that has an Ace product. She's never even thought about joining Ace. But it's actually cool. She actually got she has these coasters with pictures of coasters on them. I don't know if she actually bought the coasters from Ace or if it was just a coaster holder. Coasters.
I have coasters. I have BG in the spirit of Busch Gardens Williamsburg too. Busch Gardens Williamsburg coasters.
Is Dark Castle on there?
No, that would be awesome. that would be really. So I just showing there. All right.
Well, people in chat, we have not started talking Darkoaster yet. We are still getting things set up. There will be a little bit of time before the article drops, and then we will unveil.
And we're waiting for all of you wonderful people out there to join. Give you guys some time to join in here.
I need a coaster now. I'm starting to feel left out. people in chat having coasters. Maybe Keen's Dominion sells a coaster. I'll pick one up.
And again, this is just a reminder: anyone that's joined the Discord, you have to go into the questions for Dark Coaster channel, text channel, leave your comment or discussion there for us, and then join the wait room. Excuse me, and we'll pull you in here when we start talking Dark Coaster. if you'd want to ask a question in that fashion.
I don't know. Judging by James's wall, I think he just stole his own merchandise.
That's why they're not opening the ride again. I stole the front of the car, and they're like, hey, we can't open Dark Castle back up. We can't find the front piece of the train. Yeah, I have the. I don't know if I can position it a little bit better for you guys to see, but right back here, it's the mantle, the front mantle piece here for the.
That's right. You got the 2-camera thing going on there.
I do. For you,
neither one of us
can
see
one
it.
Camera, and I see the other.
Yeah, we need to get. Can we share the Discord link in the YouTube link?
It's there.
There are way too many windows here.
It's there.
Oh, look, it's right there at the top. Look at that.
What to say, Bob? I thought about that.
It should be pinned to the top of YouTube chat for anyone looking for it.
Yep. Oh, I moved my camera down a little bit too much.
Man, I thought a normal podcast was rough with multiple windows.
You're telling me. I have like 40,000 things open right now. I can't even see.
So, what's everybody's guess? What manufacturer are we thinking?
manufacturer ride type.
James and I have no idea yet. We actually are in the dark with you.
So you want to go over what you all know first to catch people up?
What's that?
Do you all want to go over what you know about Darkoaster so far to catch people up? Maybe inform those last-minute guesses?
The only thing that I was told was it was an indoor Drakenspeyer. It's going to be the tallest indoor roller coaster. Quad launch.
Quad launch SD.
Yeah, we do know the quad launch. That is that.
Yeah.
We did confirm that on our show a couple weeks, not last week.
2 weeks.
Yeah. I'm kind of feeling the Intamin too.
Yeah.
Ooh, Intamin single rail.
That's a good one.
That would be cool.
A reminder that Zach did say earlier on, for those of you that didn't or weren't yet in the chat yet, he said what it lacks in scale, it makes up for in cleverness. That was a hint he dropped for us all. So if you want to take that into consideration when thinking through this project beforehand, there you go.
And that is quite literal.
Ooh, that's a good idea, Ben. I like that. The upside down launch. The first ever Intamin Wild Mouse. Timmy invented it. Actually, I don't think Intamin's made a Wild Mouse, right?
No.
I don't recall. But I don't think so. Error's coming back. That's why Alan Shoki retired from RMC. He's going to start our aerodynamics back up. Morgan, I would love to see Chance get in there.
That would be nice. Axis coaster, that'd be kind of cool.
Ooh, yeah. Has Chance ever done a launch coaster? I'm sure they have.
Yeah, they're doing a launch GTX.
Oh, is that a launch? Mm-hmm. I didn't even think about it. I guess it is.
Shout out to the guy who suggested 4 Skywalk Horizons inside the Dark Castle building. That's how you get your quad launches. It's perfect.
Yeah,
oh my god. Sand serpent. Yeah, I guess I did kind of know that the GTX is coming to Arizona was launched, but I just wasn't thinking about it. I wonder if they're doing the launch in-house or if it's going to be outsourced.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Launch a Wild Mouse with a turntable.
I mean,
that is clever.
Anyone who's been following BGW coasters over like the last decade now should know all about how crafty and clever they've gotten with their last few rides. I mean, especially Drakenspeyer. We don't know if we're ever going to actually see that come to fruition now, but they didn't have enough length in a straight line for a launch anywhere near that fast, so they designed a hybrid swing launch and booster launch setup.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that's going through my mind is, are these launches coming from Drakenspeyer? Like, are they actually like dismantling the Drakenspeyer idea to
incorporate that into this project? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my impression that this is more of a stopgap solution in the attraction lineup the park is planning. I still expect the Giga project to happen eventually, probably by the park's 50th in 2025. But yeah, I would look at Darkoaster as a filler measure.
All right.
Which may that
it's not a take Darkoaster. I mean, Drakenspeyer and make it into a Darkoaster project. I got you.
It's definitely a family coaster. I don't want anyone to get like
and you'd share that with us.
Yeah, overly hyped for some enormous coaster here. It's a family coaster. It's just a very, very clever one.
I mean, didn't they also call Lightning Rod a family coaster at one point?
Yeah.
Verbolten's a family coaster.
I think this could be better than Verbolten. I legitimately think that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, you got me interested.
After riding
now.
it today, that doesn't seem very hard to beat. But I'm sorry, I did not have a good ride today on it. I was like, oh.
I love Verbolten.
I do too. It's still my third favorite in the park. It's just that rattle is awful. It's so bad.
I'm gonna get you a baby rattle for Christmas.
It's so bad. I mean, it's so prevalent. It's like I can't even think straight when I'm on that ride. It's like,
I mean, yeah, it's noticeable, but it doesn't kill the ride.
It doesn't kill the ride, no, but it's pretty bad. I would say it's up there with some of the worst rattles.
And the only rattle is at the
throughout the
bottom
entire
of the
ride.
drop.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is not.
It is 100%. 100% within the entire ride. It's not as bad. Towards the end is definitely the worst, where it's going through those bank turns into the brake run. But it is throughout the entire ride consistent rattle.
Now you're just being stupid.
I'm not. I'm being.
Someone in chat was saying that they'd be disappointed if we don't capitalize on all the Dark Castle puns. I want you to know that the full article has the entire Dark Castle script walked into it. So I've got you.
Yeah, so I don't think we're gonna.
I'm gonna apologize up front. I never rode Dark Castle, so
Carter Gibson. Respect. You're correct. What were you saying? Sorry.
Nonsense. I said I was apologizing in advance that I never rode Dark Castle, so I may be out of it with a lot of the puns and the jokes and stuff. Although I have picked up on this whole hunger for my secrets thing.
It's time to heat things up. That's a good one too.
Well, the good news for you is you'll be able to scroll through my article, read every box, and have the ride experience right there.
And then I'll throw this at the camera, my piece from the front of the train, and you'll get the full experience.
Busch Gardens is coming after you for that.
They are. They'll be like, hey, we need that back. I'm gonna the repo man's gonna come to my door.
I'm worried about that happening with my Dark Castle uniform.
Oh.
You should go watch the ride POV real quick with the sound
of Dark Castle.
Yeah, we should have done that before the show started. I could have done that. That would have been awesome if I had the POV playing with the sound.
That would have been a quality pre-show thing.
It would have been. That would have been smart thinking about that. And that would have been easy to do, but now it's a little late.
We gotta start over.
Yeah, all right, guys, we'll be right back. Look out for a new link on Twitter here soon.
All right, I'm watching the POV.
I love Verbolten. Verbolten's good. The last ride I got on today was it was in the early morning and it was an empty train, so it was kind of eh. And we rode middle. So for me, it wasn't a great ride today, but I've gotten some really great rides at Verbolten. I'm not gonna lie. It's just the rattles. It is bad. Whether or not you want to love the ride or not, that's fine, but it is a bad rattle.
Which sequence in the building is your favorite?
You said what?
Which sequence in the building is your favorite?
I like the wolves.
Get that homage into Big Bad Wolf.
Yep.
So did you wear 3D glasses in this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I wish I could do that, but I can't. Can't listen to it right now because my audio is going through my headphones. Everyone will be able to hear the ride. I want to watch it again. I love that ride so much. That was a must ride every visit. That was my Verbolten. Every time I went, I had to ride it at least once.
I really hope that there's a lot carried over with Darkoaster.
Oh yes.
You will see this in the article. A whole lot is being saved that still remains of Dark Castle.
Mhm.
So there's like a real reason for hope that Darkoaster could end up with a theme related to Dark Castle, which I think
That's
would be,
fantastic.
yeah, incredible.
Do they have any of? Oh, I guess we can ask that later. I'll save my questions for later. Because I'm sure it might even be answered in the article.
I hope so. I hope it's comprehensive enough. It's shorter than the Penguin article, but it's still 4,200 words, I think.
Hmm.
It's time to heat things up.
That's my favorite line.
The 3D in that scene always blew my mind. You could look up at the
Yes.
screen as you were going under it, and I swear it never broke down. Like the 3D visuals never stopped walking. No matter how close to the screen you got, no matter what angle you were on. It was so well done.
I mean,
But
clearly I'm not even
ahead
wearing
of
3D
myself.
glasses, and it's amazing.
Is this your first time watching a POV of it?
Yeah, it actually is.
Oh, that's awesome.
I never knew they existed. Honestly, I never really thought about it.
I mean, yeah, this is really.
It's kind of hard to hear some of what they're saying though.
Mm-hmm.
It really was like Spider-Man outside
I
of
was just about to say,
a
yeah.
Florida park. Like it was legitimately that caliber. And it was a wholly original park IP, which is also just incredible.
Unheard of. I mean, oftentimes parks don't like to do that.
The times before Scott Ross.
Before the dark times. Before the Empire. For my Star Wars fans out there.
A wickedly wonderful tour.
Every time I got off that ride, despite riding it maybe 200 times in my life, I had like chills.
That was actually really cool. Now I'm pissed I never got to ride it.
Imagine if you had gotten to ride it and then they ripped it from you with no notice. Imagine how that feels, Bob.
Well, I mean, there's Volcano, but yeah. Okay, Timmy. I gotta say, this was I'm gonna actually post this YouTube link to the chat.
Which POV were you watching?
The one I just posted.
Hmm.
It was from
That
Mouse
makes
Steps.
sense. Yeah, that's the one I've watched. Yeah.
It's actually really good. All right, I think we didn't. I wasn't really counting, but I think the overwhelming.
That is all. Yeah, VA
Gets
Coaster Fanatic. I
attention.
agree. That would be a great way to start off the article. Zach, you might need to change some things real quick if you didn't. No comment.
I believe that what I did with the script will fulfill the intent being described.
Okay.
I think that it's good. Maybe
Wait.
slightly cringy, but there's strength in the cringe.
Mm-hmm.
They made a DVD of it.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I think they did.
Of Dark Castle.
What are you looking at?
YouTube chat.
Oh,
I think they made a behind the scenes possibly.
yeah. I think it might have been sent to media though. I have a friend who has a copy. I do not know the height requirement, but I believe that when the article goes up, you all can probably work out the likely height requirement based on comps. I did not do it expressly in the article, but it shouldn't be hard.
I still want to know how many show scenes there are.
Well,
I don't know that there's a single show scene.
oh no.
I don't know. I do not have evidence to say one way or the other. There is no obvious indication that the train will stop for anything, though.
Any slow moving parts that it could be a slow like a.
There are areas where it's possible, and I discuss some of those in the article, but nothing obvious. I do not have extensive theming documents for this attraction right now. It's probably a bit early in the development cycle for any of that stuff to even be finalized, to be honest. So this is going to focus on the coaster itself, and there is plenty to address just there.
Mm-hmm.
There are hints as per the theme, and I try to pull all those out, but there is not going to be any grand unveiling of what the actual theme is, because I do not know yet.
Okay.
They better go with your name, though. I mean, Darkoaster's pretty great.
Yeah. I really, I'm starting to think that Busch Gardens Williamsburg should just let you guys name everything.
Drakenspire, great name.
Drakenspire is the best name for a roller coaster ever.
We cannot take credit for that. That was someone on Park Fans, but we adopted it, and because it is the greatest. It is beyond perfect for that attraction.
Like, it's so perfect that if BGW actually builds that coaster and does not call it Drakenspire, I'm going to be pissed.
But it will be Drakenspire. It'll be like a protest, like a dissidence to not follow whatever it is they have used as a name. No.
We'll make our own march.
Yeah, exactly. A mark for Drakenspire.
I think that is the first person I've ever heard that has read Dark Castle that was not a fan of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Discord the God. He just said that. He said he was not really a big fan of it.
Is that dark rides in general, or is it like a specific Dark Castle you just didn't like?
No, he said Dark Castle. Oh, well,
yeah, but is it like, is that a trend? Is that something that you don't typically like, dark rides, or you're not a fan of dark rides, or is it like, is there a disposition there, or is it that just like, no, Dark Castle was it? Other ones I love. Because if not, I'm interested to see what exactly it is about Dark Castle that you didn't like.
I've run across people over the years who were not a fan of Dark Castle. Those people are wrong.
Yeah.
And we hate them, but those people exist.
I don't see how you can like other dark rides and not like it's not Dark Castle. The IP. Do you not like the IP, or do you not like the motion? I mean, I don't get that, because most dark rides operate very similarly in respect to they're moving.
No, there's another one.
You're rotating your vehicle. You're seeing screens. Like, yeah, he likes the ones at Disney Universe. I mean, Spider-Man is the same manufacturer. It's the same style.
Oh, I guess if it made you puke, I guess that's a little bit different.
Yeah,
you know,
who said that?
The only ride, Frankensteiner.
I don't see.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You
I
don't
see it. I got you.
I think the only like simulator.
He said the IP
3D ride that's ever like made me not. Nothing's ever really made me sick, but the only one that's ever made me not feel really good is actually Battle of Ire. That is absolutely the only one that has ever, like, you know, I got off and going, I think I might want to sit down for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's a really common experience with Isle. I never had problems on any dark rides or simulators before that, and there were days when Isle could make me really sick. Yeah,
even like early simulators where like being milliseconds off was actually fairly common. It never really bugged me, but Battle of Ire did.
I don't know if it's terrible. It wasn't great, but I thought it was a fine ride.
It's definitely an attraction where the park's ability like way exceeded their reach. They tried for something that they did not have the expertise to deliver on. And
Yes.
like I admire that tenacity a lot. But at the same time, that's how you end up with a dark ride that lasts for like a year and a half.
Exactly.
Somebody's asking why they got rid of the fireplace screen.
Like a lot of Dark Castle's effects, it was just the park's lack of interest in maintaining like anything about the ride.
You mean like Verbolten's roof?
Yeah, for Bolton's
Oh,
roof, or
like-
some of the pieces in the actual Black Forest show building.
Like everything inside Verbolten's event building.
Maybe the reason why they're not putting the roof back on Verbolten is they're going to use it in Darkoaster. That's what I'm going to say.
I keep
the only
thinking.
hope.
I keep thinking.
It's probably-
I keep thinking. Oh, that's an off-season project for Busch Gardens, and then I'm like, oh, nope, no, it's not. They don't have an off-season anymore.
At some point, Verbolten's going to actually have to go down for like some real maintenance, and that might be when we finally see the roof come back.
I don't feel like that would be too difficult for them to just to do now, though. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Was the roof really damaged much? I think I recall it being pretty much intact.
Yeah.
The BGWFans reporting is that a good chunk of it quite literally collapsed during a storm.
Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't just like removed as a precautionary measure.
Well, no, I knew it blew off. Like there was a picture of it sitting beside it, like literally upside down, but it didn't look like the roof was very damaged that much. Like it, if I recall right, maybe I'm misremembering, but
it's a fair amount of damage.
Okay, well then maybe it's not as easy as I was thinking, but
yeah, they definitely will have to reconstruct a new one.
Yeah, we're talking about the roof right below the finale on the bridge, the creaking bridge, right before you drop toward the Rhine. That roof's not there. There's a frame around the bridge, but there's the actual roof there isn't. It's not there.
It just looks like a random metal frame with the ground now. It doesn't really work at all. I didn't realize how crucial that roof was until that happened.
Yeah.
It looks so bad.
How are we feeling? Do we think we should pull the trigger?
I don't know. What do you guys think? Anybody want to know what's going on? Want to know what Darkoaster is?
I think so. I think that's probably why they came.
They're not here just to talk?
They're not just here for, they're not here just for Coaster Talk podcast, sadly.
I thought we were here to just talk about how Busch Gardens been screwing up.
And once again, right before I guess we do release the article, Zach releases the article and we discuss it. If you have questions prior to the article's release, now is the time to go to Discord, or you can actually respond on our Discord, questions for Discord, or you can actually join the voice channel like we have instructed you, and you can actually ask questions live to Zach and to us if we have any input. It's probably going to be mainly Zach answering questions.
Oh, we do have a question. Oh, what? Do we have anybody?
I received a question that is sent in by a listener who said they weren't going to be able to attend tonight, but they wanted to ask us a question. It's directed at us, but I'll ask that later.
All right. Well, it looks like people really want to see what's going on. So what do you think, Zach?
We can do it. We can go.
All right, we'll go. Well, Zach is going to go off and do his work his magic. Me and Bob here will be waiting patiently. We'll stay talking with you guys for a little bit, and then once Zach has let us know what's up, we'll go over and actually read through the article with you guys for the first time.
Wait, Timmy said he wants to wait more. Timmy might get pummeled by everybody in the chat.
Timmy's having fun not having to do anything right now. He's like, I don't want all this responsibility.
Yeah, so special thanks to Timmy, who is going to man the Discord server.
He's our moderator tonight.
Yeah, we actually have I guess, can we call him our producer? We actually have our producer.
I don't know if that's the right word for it, but yeah.
I don't know if it is either, but whatever.
Yeah, our fellow host. He could be considered a host, I guess. We can call him a host because he's on half the time. So, host, moderator, Timmy Jung. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank not only Timmy, but also Bob and James for putting all this together, too. I was walking on the article. All of the rest of this is all them. They have done a fantastic job.
We try.
Yeah,
we make it look like we've done a good job.
We look professional, but really we're so scared out of our minds, like we don't know what we're doing.
I spent the day driving back from Pennsylvania. That's all I did today.
I was at Busch Gardens actually earlier today. So
I do have a question. I don't know if you know this, Zach. Why does Griffin have the still wrapping?
That's
still
the
wrapping
the
crack.
He's talking about the shelter over the brake run, like over the sky for the sky ride.
Oh, the stuff. Oh yeah,
that's
so that's a fun story.
I'll let Bob do that.
I didn't know that's good. Yeah, so B&M in their extremely cautious security, like very, very cautious mind, they said if they put the coaster there, they were afraid of the sky ride, like something falling from the sky ride, or the sky ride falling. So they wanted to put something to protect the coaster from the sky ride. It's actually very
similar to, if you look at Velocicoaster, Intamin has the same type of requirement with the bridge. They built a structure around the bridge there so articles don't fall and hit people.
And then there's S&S that builds Merlin's Mayhem, and the Skyride literally goes like there's nothing around it. It just goes.
I think it's because the Skyride's going so slow though they don't mind. There's nothing bad could happen possibly from this.
That was the slowest freaking Skyride in the world.
Yeah, if we go backwards and it would be moving back. It was like, oh.
That is the only time I ever rode a Skyride where James and I rode it together, and we literally multiple times had to ask the other one if we were still moving. It was that freaking slow. It really was that slow.
It was awful.
It was like a half hour.
It was agony. It was like we were like, "Holy crap! Can we get off the Skyride now, please?" I never wanted to get off. Like normally, you're taking in the atmosphere, you're looking around the park, you're like having a great time on the Skyride. You don't even realize you're getting back down, and you're like, "Oh, let's go on to the next location." No, it's like I was like, "Get me off this thing." Me and Bob were like, "We're never riding this ever again." Swore an oath that day.
I'm gonna hit the button.
Oh no, the button's gonna get hit.
Button might be hit.
It should be live.
Oh, there it is.
Oh my gosh. There we go. Everybody, we're gonna transition over to the article screen so we can read along with you guys. Ready? Here we go. All right, so everyone should still be able to hear us now. You can't see us, obviously, as we have the article up. I have my article up so you guys can see it. Bob, you have yours up. Are you going to?
I will in a second.
All right, so do we want to do an out loud read first, or do we want to do a silent read and then go back and do an out loud read?
I don't know. Go ahead and read it.
Oh my God! You made me do the whole thing, all 4,200 words.
All right.
All right. So the subheading to obviously what is the name of the project, what we all know we've been promoting, Project Darkoaster. Busch Gardens Williamsburg is developing a new, unique, Intamin-made quad launch indoor family roller coaster to replace Curse of Dark Castle. So here we go. Early bird gets the worm. Here's our link to our stream, everyone. It's kind of meta. You guys are already here, so we're not going to deal with that. And he's Zach's list here before we start we get into today's story, I just have a few requests. Please read all of the colored text boxes like this one. The white boxes just offer a bit more cheeky fun, but the colorful ones only contain important information. After, and only after, you read the whole article, feel free to share any of the content presented below, wherever you'd like. All we ask is that you cite BGWFans as the source. If you like what we have done here, consider following us, and there's their links there. So, Bolton, why are you here? Tempesto, get out. Invader, look out. Pantheon, they're coming.
We could act this out, man. Come on.
Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. You must go back to Busch.
Why are you here?
Oh, you want to actually do? I didn't know we were.
Come on, Tempesto. Come on.
I gotta do Italian. Get out!
Look out!
And Pantheon's Greek. I can't do a Greek accent.
Pantheon's not here yet. How's he talking?
He can't talk yet. He's not alive. They're coming. Busch Gardens,
Who's coming? Nobody's riding you yet. You're so close.
You must go back to buschgardens.com. BGWFans has no power there. So you've come to tour my collection. You'll simply die when you see it. Do come in, I insist. All right, so we got the foreword here. Bob, do you want to switch paragraphs?
Back in July.
All right.
Okay, so I'm Zach. I'm playing the part of Zach right now. Back in July, I addressed the hypothetical coverage of a potential new attraction in the former Curse of Dark Castle building. In brief, I stated that obtaining data on such a project would likely be incredibly difficult. Oftentimes, the bulk of our earliest reporting on new attractions comes via publicly sourced site preparation related red flags such as soil testing, height surveys, height waivers, etc. That said, when Busch Gardens Williamsburg builds something in an existing building, our typical game plan tends to break down completely. Far fewer aspects of an attraction constructed entirely within an existing structure will ever need to hit the public record.
A prime example of this issue can be seen in our coverage of Battle for Ire. Since BGWFans' founding back in 2009, Battle for Ire remains the only ride we have failed to leak in any real detail ahead of its official announcement. Ultimately, after the park started revealing information on the project, we did end up publishing a fair bit of internal documentation regarding Ire. That said, compared to what we've managed to pull off with all the other parks attractions over the years, the Ire leaks were just too little too late. It was the one that got away.
Fortunately, thanks to an incredible collection of internally sourced seized documentation we recently obtained, see also the leak of Orlando's Project Penguin, reporting on Busch Gardens Williamsburg's next fully indoor attraction will not be a repeat of our experience with Battle for Ire. In fact, this may be the most we've ever known about a project this far ahead of its planned debut.
Obtaining, dissecting, and analyzing content like this is far from a one-man job, though. Even just the production of this article requires a multi-person effort. With that in mind, allow me to introduce you to my friends. They've been waiting for you. I'm gonna do the accent, so I'll do all those ones if you want.
This is in no way a comprehensive list of the people who have contributed to this article. I want to give special thanks to a few folks. First off, obviously, the sources that contributed information and evidence to our understanding of the attraction have been an absolutely invaluable resource, and this article could not exist without them. Secondly, there are a handful who have aided in the analysis of this coast along the way, most notably Intim 305, who drafted up a model of the attraction for us. And lastly, a huge thanks to everyone else who has helped out in the background along the way, including folks like Park Fans member Adam and Joe Rules, as well as my co-admins Nicole and Gavin. I may be the one typing up the text at the end of the process, but this reporting takes a village.
Here we go. You have such hunger for my secrets? Come, it shall be fed. I'll take this. Now, as always, before we get too deep into this article, I have to break down the bright red warning box to tell everyone that this attraction is still in development and not to blame us when and if something changes. Sorry, this part is such a fright, but isn't that the point? There you go. So we'll just skip over that, obviously.
Yeah, do not take this seriously.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
This is for entertainment purposes only, yada, yada, yada. Typical disclaimer, don't hold Zach or BGWFans or Coaster Talk or anybody liable for anything.
First
and we're sorry, Busch Gardens.
Yeah, we apologize. First course coming right up. So BGWFans has exclusively obtained a bevy of information regarding a yet-to-be-announced full indoor multifamily launch roller coaster currently in development for Busch Gardens Williamsburg.
Multifamily launch.
Yeah.
So it launches multiple families.
It does.
Okay, good to know.
This new roller coaster, as we understand it, is planned to be contained completely within the show building originally constructed for the park's long-defunct Oceaneering/Falcon's Treehouse Dark Ride Curse of Dark Castle. As things currently stand, we believe Busch Gardens Williamsburg is pushing to have this new roller coaster ready to open for the 2023 season.
Okay, now place your bets. Will this open before Pantheon? That's the question.
Yes. I got 100 on the table. You'll soon be getting your just desserts, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
Before we go any further, we should take a few moments to make sure everyone is working with the same basic informational groundwork in place. Attraction additions never happen in a vacuum, and over the last handful of years, Busch Gardens Williamsburg's capital expenditure plans, in particular, have been shockingly turbulent. I will spare all of you the long version of this story this time around, just to provide you with the Cliff Notes edition of Busch Gardens Williamsburg's Madrid arc.
And so we'll just, here you can see all the sources here.
Yeah, so it was a whole Project Madrid, plan early 28,
and then
2018. There's supposed to be a whole event space, late 2010s. The plans were scrapped for Pantheon and Drakenspeyer. 2020, COVID did its worst to Pantheon. 2021, they're moving to year-round operations.
And here we are.
Yep.
Get out before it's too late.
Oh, late 2021, Drakenspeyer remains on hold.
Yeah, so there's this little blip there. Get out before it's too late. Oh, come
on. No.
It'll be a blast. You're not doing the accent, so it doesn't...
Okay, fine, I won't do it.
If you do the accent, if you commit to it, I'll let you do it.
All right, whatever. So with that brief history lesson, let's get back to the main topic of today's article. Busch Gardens Williamsburg's next new major attraction, a roller coaster we've dubbed Project Darkoaster.
Yay.
We're going to kick things off by going over some basic information about the coaster. After that, we'll dive into the layout, the coaster's big secret, and share a little about the possible thematic direction of the attraction.
Come, don't hold back. It's time to heat things up.
There it was.
According to the documentation we've reviewed, Busch Gardens Williamsburg has worked with Intamin, the manufacturer of Pantheon, to develop a new coaster for the former helm of Curse of Dark Castle. Though things can still change, we understand that this new roller coaster is currently planned to debut in early 2023. According to the evidence we've seen, Project Dark Castle's layout is slated to remain entirely within the footprint of the Curse of Dark Castle former show building. The records we have reviewed also don't include any modifications to the height of the current structure, which tops off at a little less than 40 feet tall.
From what we could tell from the plans we could report on thus far... Wait, let me read the right...
Are you lost?
Oh, it's a video.
Yes.
Can we show the video somehow?
I could show the video. I can play it right now while you're talking.
So below, we've included a short marketing video ahead of Breaker's debut. It offers a brief look at the coaster's unique sitting position. Uh-oh.
And then from what we can tell, the plans we can report this far, we believe the Project Darkoaster will be a custom-designed, intimate family launch coaster, a relatively small model known for its family-accessible launches, twisted layouts, and unique seating style. This particular model is no stranger to the SeaWorld parks. Back in 2017, SeaWorld San Antonio debuted an intimate family launch coaster named Wavebreaker the Rescue Coaster. Additionally, pre-COVID, as originally reported by Behind the Thrills, SeaWorld San Diego is planning to add their own version of the same model. And here you can see the video. I've actually gotten to ride it. It's pretty fun. So,
you want to bet how many people have already skipped ahead of this, and everybody in the chat has already
read the whole thing.
You are correct. This is not for Skywarps, and I want my money back.
Yeah. So, do you want to continue?
Wait, hold on. I'm assessing.
You're assessing. What is it you're assessing?
I only see 2 launches.
Oh, you scrolled down too far.
Yeah, I did.
You did. We're still up here under the video. All right, I'll just clap it off then. In the case of Project Darkoaster, the station area is set up to accommodate 5-car trains for a total expected capacity of only 10 riders per train. Though it may theoretically be possible for Darkoaster to run 3 trains at a time, the impact on actual capacity would likely be minuscule. Given what we have seen in documents, we believe 2 train operations is the most likely outcome here. This tour is about to reach new heights.
I got way lost.
Yeah, you did. I was like, where are you going with this? 2 launches. How are you seeing that at? So the layout.
If you've ever seen us leak a coaster before, you're probably familiar with our standard approach to breaking down a coaster's layout. We typically give you a numbered overview of the coaster and then dedicate small sections of the article to analyzing each individual element. While this tried and true approach is typically quite effective, in the case of Darkoaster, I actually believe it would make the coaster more difficult to understand. With that in mind, this time, we've opted to split Darkoaster's layout into 2 halves. The first consisting of a fairly mundane family multi-launch coaster layout, and the second focusing on what makes this attraction so interesting. Now that explains what I was looking at.
Here we are. This is where Bob was getting the 2 launches. The first section of Project Darkoaster we're going to address consists of the track between the first launch and the final brake run. This portion of the coaster takes up the vast majority of Dark Castle show building and consists of 2 launches, numerous bank turns, and a brake run. The rough recreation below depicts the portion of the coaster's layout quite clearly. And here is the image that they're referencing. I'll even pull it up big screen for a brief moment of time here so you guys can look at it if you're trying to follow along with the video at all. So there that is. All right, now we're going to scroll down.
As shown above or on your screen, Darkoaster's trains will start this portion of the layout by launching towards the back of Dark Castle show building and ascending a banked rise that curves about 135 degrees to the left. Riders will then experience a couple downward sloping banked S-bends, likely double down style, before straightening out and leveling off parallel to the brake run. Trains then enter a steeply banked 200-ish degree turn to the left before hitting the coaster's second launch section. I'll let you take that one.
Bob, didn't we do this in first grade? The popcorn reading? Exiting the second launch segment.
That was a long time ago.
Riders will then be thrown directly into a large, heavily banked turnaround, which flows directly into a banked S-turn. Exiting the S-bend, trains bank right and traverse a roughly 230-degree turn. From there, Darkoaster's trains cross the second launch section with an S-hill before entering the last heavily banked turnaround before the brake run. So a lot of S's.
Yeah. As you can see, Darkoaster's core layout is really just that of a fairly short but still quite promising sounding indoor intimate family multi-launch coaster. Even just the layout as depicted above would fulfill the fully indoor coaster void in Busch Gardens and Williamsburg's lineup. That said, this coaster features a unique, tremendously clever trick that takes this attraction from a fairly run-of-the-mill intimate family launch coaster to something truly one of a kind. Warning! Major Darkoaster spoilers ahead. All right. So I guess at this point,
any of those of you that
you've been warned.
want to know the tricks it has up its sleeve, like you just wanted to know the type of ride and know what it's going to do on a kind of surface level, and you want to exit now, you've been warned. I don't think that many of you are going to do that, but Zach's obviously being kind and leaving that as there as a warning for else. So Busch Gardens Williamsburg, this is way out is via your browser's back button. Follow me, BGW fans. There is no way out. I won't let you scroll. Marketing, you're driving me insane. BGW fans, you were never sane to begin with. I love it. I love it. I love it. Typically between a coaster's first launch and final brake run, you'd find a simple transfer track and station platform. For most rides, that is the most mundane portion of the layout. That said, in the case of Project Darkoaster, all of the elements that make this coaster something truly weird and special occur after the final brakes.
Ooh.
So this is what Mystic Timber should have been, I'm guessing.
Picture this. You depart the station, round a corner, hit the first launch, and experience the coaster layout discussed previously. After 2 launches and a bunch of highly banked twists and turns, you begin to decelerate on the brake run as you near the coaster station. Suddenly, At the last moment, your deceleration ceases. You bank left and enter an entirely new segment of track featuring a series of S-bends. From there, you're fed right back into the main layout discussed previously, resulting in another 2 launches and a bunch more highly banked twists and turns, effectively more than doubling the length of the coaster. Below, you'll find a top-down image of an approximate recreation of the full Project Darkoaster layout with all the non-core layout elements displayed.
And there you are. If you would like to see that, I'm going to have it up here for a brief moment here.
Good Lord.
It's getting complicated.
Intamin doesn't do anything simple.
No. All right, so I'm going to move on now. As you can see from the image above, Darkoaster's bizarre multi-lap layout is accomplished with a pair of Intamin's fast track switches and dedicated station area bypass track. Not only does this setup allow Darkoaster to cycle a train around the core layout more than once without having it traverse the station area, but it also enables this unique multi-lap coaster to run more than one train at a time. You can find a rudimentary animation depicting how multi-train Darkoaster operations will likely work below. And here I'll show that as well up here on the main screen. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. Assuming this attraction operates as depicted above, this unique dual fast track switch setup paired with a dedicated station bypass track makes for a really fascinating coaster. It turns Project Darkoaster from a sort of short dual launcher to a reasonably long quad launcher. Not too shabby at all for a coaster constructed entirely inside a former dark ride building.
Our best guess. As you can probably tell by the layout images above, yes, once again, we worked with someone far more talented than myself to model Project Darkoaster in No Limits. This time around, we turned to the always fantastic Intim 305, who you may remember from his work with us on an early Project Darkinspire rendering a couple years back. While, as always, our models require us to insert a number of guesstimates and placeholders, we believe the layout depicted in our rendering of Project Darkoaster should be very close to what is currently planned. The exact track shaping and banking may be slightly off here and there, and the coaster may ultimately run a little faster or slower, but by and large, this layout mock-up shouldn't be too far off. Obviously, everything that isn't the coaster's layout should be considered a placeholder. This includes all of the colors, the trains, the lack of theming. With that out of the way, here's Intim 305's Project Darkoaster layout mock-up in action.
And I am currently playing it. I've been playing it as Bob spoke, so if you're watching on the YouTube stream, you can see it continuing to play here. I'm going to let it run out.
They've come a long way from Skull Mountain.
They have, indeed. Beautiful. And I think we're about to hit the end.
Looks like some decent airtime on some of those.
Okay. They have each element, it looks. That's fantastic.
Oh, look, there's a purple train. So we know there's a purple train. No, wait.
And there's a lack of theming. I'm really disappointed.
It looks like Pantheon.
It's Pantheon's younger brother.
So one could hope.
I like how it's gone. I like how it's gone from Busch Gardens not working with Intamin at all to like installing 2 major Intamin coasters with really impressive technology that like they wouldn't have previously worked with, it seems.
I think they clearly know that. Intamin draws people into the park.
Intamin.
That's what. Yeah.
So we're going to go on to the theme now. The documents we can report on thus far do not provide much insight into what New theming is planned for the Project Darkoaster. Initially, I know that sounds like really bad news, especially after seeing what happened with Pantheon. That said, it is worth keeping in mind that this project is still early in development cycle, that there's a really good chance most theming elements have yet to be finalized. If you remember the plans we leaked for Invader, they also didn't include much of the attraction's final theming package. Theming documents are beyond your reach.
The good news, however, is that documents we have reviewed do give some reason for real hope. While much of Curse of Dark Castle's ride area has long since been gutted, the plans we've seen call for the retention of essentially every last detail. Examples of some of Curse of Dark Castle's remaining scenic elements for preservation include the largely untouched queue, pre-show room, stable theme station, and exit. Some of those details are pictured below or on your screen now if you're watching the stream.
Additionally, the floor to the ceiling castle wall facade that still remains inside the former Curse of Dark Castle ride area is also earmarked for preservation. In fact, better yet, this themed wall is actually supposed to be extended further to the right as a part of this project. A photo of the current state of this element can be found below. And here it is. You can see right here.
Furthermore, as part of the building's conversion to house a coaster, major station platform modifications are going to be required. Most notably, the Project Darkoaster plans call for the addition of an exit side platform across from the existing load side platform used by Curse of Dark Castle. This proposed exit platform will feed guests to a staircase and ultimately up to a new themed covered wooden walking bridge over the coaster. A diagram of the new station setup can be found below.
Very nice. Very nice. Again, it's still early days, but it looks to us, at least for now, things may be moving in a promising direction thematically. The fact that essentially all of Curse of Dark Castle's incredible remaining theming will be retained offers a great thematic base on which BGW can build. The unique upright seating configuration of Intamin's family launch coasters trains could lend themselves tremendously well to being themed to horses, possibly meshing perfectly with an existing stable theme from Curse of Dark Castle's station area.
Better yet, Darkoaster's unique switch track setup could offer some incredible storytelling opportunities on ride as well. For instance, it's easy to imagine a storyline involving near escape on the first lap, followed by a successful attempt on the second. Additionally, the slower paced areas, both brake runs and the bypass track especially, could even potentially be used for very brief, simple story conveying scenes. Think the lead up to Verbolten's vertical drop. Taking things a step further, lighting and audio effects could even be used to differentiate the first lap of the core layout from the second. The potential is all here. Let's hope the park is ready to invest into making it something truly special. Indeed.
What we do and don't know. I tested out a what we do and don't know section for the first time with the Project Penguin leak earlier this month, and people seemed to dig it. With that in mind, I think it may be a mainstay in articles like this moving forward. So what do and what don't we know about this project? So Project Darkoaster is currently in development, anticipated to be ready in 2023, slated to inhabit the former home of Curse of Dark Castle, planned to be a unique, fully indoor Intamin family coaster featuring 2 launch sections, 2 fast switch tracks, numerous twists and turns, somewhere around 1,600-ish feet of track, and 5 car trains accommodating 10 riders per train.
Project Dark Castle is likely to reach a max height of somewhere around 30 feet, complete 2 laps of the core layout per ride cycle, making it 1, a quad launch coaster, 2, effectively a roughly 2,500-ish foot long ride experience. Feature 2 of Intamin's upright, low-backed motorbike-esque trains, and reuse much of the remaining Curse of Dark Castle theming.
We don't know Project Dark Castle's name, theme, speed, or colors. This is about the time we'd normally call an article like this complete. That said, this time I'm going to do something pretty unconventional. In other words, You will never escape.
I think we should allow people to read the unsolicited Darkcastle thoughts if they want to.
Okay.
And
All right.
let it open it up for questions from chat. Because
All
I
right.
think that I will end up echoing a lot of what I wrote in this section.
Sounds good. So let's revisit how you can ask questions. If you are in the chat and you'd prefer to ask a question in the YouTube chat, we can try our best to scan that and continue to ask questions that you guys ask. The best and most efficient way is going to be for you to go to our Discord and ask a question in there, and then Timmy will pull you in there, and that ensures your question will get answered because you will be coming in here and talking with us, actually, like you. So either way, we are ready to open up to questions for Zach.
So what do you two think?
I'm impressed. This is what I kind of thought we were looking at. More so, I was thinking we'd see some dark ride elements incorporated, which you said you don't really see possibly happening, which is a little shocking to me. But I'm impressed. I think this is great. I love the fast switch track. I think that's really a great.
Yeah. I'm actually a big fan of this, and I like the fact that. Well, this is something I've been thinking, and we had you on our show a few weeks ago. I even kind of touched on this of like kind of my thinking. We all kind of know the reason why Dark Castle was suddenly closed was because a projector was dropped and it couldn't be replaced. Economically, we could say, and that basically had to do because the technology was so far ahead at the time. The thing is, now we're in an era where the technology that was used for Dark Castle can be replicated fairly easily and cheaply now. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to actually, you even kind of touched on it in the article too, where you could, like, every lap could be something different. So you could even do this, like, we look at Verbolten. Verbolten is practically the same coaster, but there are 3 different distinct shows. And you ride that. You look at even Timbers. There's 3 different endings, although that's not anything to write home about. This could be something where it could be something really different if you use video projection, like what was used in Dark Castle. And you look at like the other things that Intamin has in their portfolio, like the flying theater and the dome theater, and like all of these things that they deal with moving video. The potential is there for something really, really spectacular. I just hope that Busch Gardens is, gonna put that into it. But like I just get those vibes where something's coming. I'm really excited about it. That being said, even the layout itself, if it's pitch black, even, it's gonna be a really fun ride.
That's really my feeling. Like, if they don't put a ton of effort into this and it's just a really well-themed queue, really well-themed station, and then ultimately just a coaster in the dock, it will be sort of disappointing, but it's still going to fill like a really important void in the park's lineup. But at the same time, I do think this has the potential to be something incredibly special for the park. Like, if they invest in making the laps different through lighting or video or audio, God, I'd love on-ride audio on this thing so much.
Yeah.
If they really invest in the storytelling aspect, I think this could be like a staple attraction that people think about when they think Busch Gardens Swings Park.
I think this is going to be able to fill that gap that Dark Castle kind of left when it got removed. If, again, as we say, it utilizes the storytelling, I think it can be what Dark Castle kind of was. That really iconic, different, that it really makes Busch Gardens stand out as a park. Because, a lot of people, you can go back and find people that would go to Busch Gardens Williamsburg because they heard of Coaster Dark Castle, because it was such a cool, like we've talked about, was the only ride of its type outside of Disney or Universal. and that was a big draw for people. I think that could fill this kind of gap that it's left again with its removal. So we'll see.
As a family coaster, I think it's really cool. If it's a story coaster, this is like elevated to the next level.
Exactly, and that's what I see. Mm-hmm.
And I also think that like I've been ruminating on these plans for a long while now. Mm-hmm. And the thing I just keep coming back to is how incredibly clever this layout is. The Darkcastle's building is not very large, and especially height-wise. Maxing out at a little bit less than 40 feet, mm-hmm. They did not have a ton of room to walk with. And to get a coaster in there that's going to have a ride experience like roughly equivalent of that of a 2,500 foot long family coaster, that's just so impressive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the elements you describe it taking actually sound not intense, but enough for the thrill seekers to enjoy, and enough for the kids to kind of get introduced to some more intense elements, which I think is great. Because Wavebreaker, the rescue coaster at SeaWorld San Antonio, I got the chance of riding back in 2020, and it really impressed me. I mean, it wasn't blown away by the ride, but it was a fun ride, and that enclosed with, again, some show elements could really be a hit ride. So I'm excited.
I'm really fascinated by the short trains on Darkoaster as well. Mm-hmm. I think it's sort of likely that it's really just a result of the short station area that they have to walk with, and they didn't want to do any like major structural changes. Sure. But at the same time, it does enable like a particularly fast-paced, snappy coaster that maybe something like Wavebreaker's really long trains couldn't.
Yeah. That's fair. I think that's probably an additional kind of bonus that's kind of included within shortening the trains, like you said. But that's a great point. There are going to probably be some great transitions with the length of the trains.
So I think we do have somebody waiting to ask a question.
We do. We have a live question. So if they want to drag on over, you're welcome to ask your question.
First, like, the Darkoaster building is extremely small for a dark ride in the first place, so putting a coaster in this is going to be highly interesting. But, like, do you think they use wraparounds very similar to the technology they're using for Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot to, like, enhance the ride experience and, like you said, change it for a second lap around the coaster?
I really hope we see that kind of thing, but none of it's evidenced in the documents that I have so far. But like I said earlier on the stream, I do think that there's a good chance that the thematic elements are still in development, probably haven't been totally finalized at this point. We're still like, a year and a quarter or so away from when this coaster would debut, and it's a pretty small coaster to begin with. It's not been in development for that long. So hopefully we see that sort of thing, but I haven't seen evidence of it firsthand. As Paul, like your general question about how this is getting squeezed in that building, there are some extreme lengths that they're going to here. Like the switch track, the false switch track that you see, when it slides the curved track into position, the straight track literally slides between two beams of Darkcastle's warehouse. Like, there are areas of the building foundation that they're having to knock out and dig down like a foot or two to pour a new foundation to make room for the track.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's remarkable. The design prowess that is evident in these plans.
So, exactly like we predicted on the forums with that Movie Park Germany coaster where they had to dig down to fit some of the track in the old River Rapids building.
Yeah, I think it will be quite similar to that project. I think our coaster is going to end up being a lot faster paced than that coaster ended up being, but it's very much in that same vein of thinking, I think.
Here we go.
All right. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Plus, the thing that I picture too is like are they actually like hand carrying these pieces of track in? Like, how does it? Like, are there area like like how do you build something like this? I mean, coaster track isn't light. Is there like skylight doors that you can drop in with a crane, or are they actually carrying this in by hand? Like, how do you know anything about that?
They're all large, like access roll doors at the back of the building. That's how they moved the incredibly large and heavy Dark Castle ride vehicles in and out. But yeah, I can't even fathom the logistics of constructing a ride like this. Like, the track is going to be so incredibly close to so many different elements, not just of the coaster itself, but like the building structure and like electrical and HVAC and so many different elements that they have to shove into this place. It's from a construction logistics standpoint, it boggles my mind.
Yeah, it's amazing. I do have a comment in the YouTube live chat. Chris is saying he's really hoping for a 42 or 44 inch height requirement, and I think that's kind of. I mean, I've previously stated my whole thoughts on if it's a family coaster, it has to be 42 inches. I don't get Verbolten being a family coaster at 48 inches. That's just, to me, that's not a family coaster. But I think like Wavebreaker and those coasters, those are 42 inches, aren't they?
Yeah, I believe Wavebreaker is, yes.
Yeah, so I think that's probably what this will end up being, I would think.
Yeah, I would think that it would match Wavebreaker's height requirement.
Yeah, so yeah, I think 42 inches is probably a good guess. Which is really good for Busch Gardens because they really do need the only park worse than them is Cedar Point when it comes to that height range. That would be really, really crucial for Busch Gardens to have a 42-inch requirement coaster. Because even Invader isn't low enough to really, they just don't have anything for, somebody who's graduated out of Kiddieland. They're just kind of stuck. There's nothing there.
Wavebreaker actually is a 48-inch height requirement.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
That's not good.
Yeah, we might be looking at 48 then.
I thought Intamin did have a family coaster that was 42.
I don't know. I'm on the website now though, seeing it 48 because I was like, I gotta recheck that. And it is.
48. Oh, Hagrid's is 48 as well. See, I've kind of lost it now that my nephew's over 48 inches. I've lost track.
We've lost touch with the height requirements of the parks.
Yeah, I do know Invader's 46. For some reason, I thought Intamin did have a coaster that was 42.
Not quite sure. I don't know. Did they have with any of those new models possibly they released? Was there a possibility for a variation that included 42?
You know what I might be thinking of?
What is that?
Oh, no. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I was wrong on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm looking at different products they have, trying to see. Maybe their suspended family coaster could be shorter because you have the over-the-shoulder restraints as well. I don't know. That could.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know. If it is a 48-inch requirement, I think that's kind of a blunder on their part. I mean, not to put down this coaster in any way, shape, or form.
I think that the trains are one of the things that I'm least sold on here. Both from a seating style, I've never experienced. Well, I guess if you count Hagrid's motorbike trains,
Yeah.
I've ridden that. But how different are Hagrid's motorbike trains to Wave Breakers?
I mean, you're sitting. I guess if you're sitting in the motorbike, it's pretty similar. But if you're sitting like
Okay.
in that little sidecar,
Yeah, the
it's a little
sidecar.
different. But yeah, the Wavebreaker, they're similar to the Zamperla, like the horseback. I think that's what they're called, the model. Is that correct? The horseback, like where you're like the motorbike as well. Coaster where you're sitting forward like that. You have Pony Express knots. I don't mind them. I don't think they're great, but I don't think it's like really that impactful on the ride experience, to be quite honest with you. Like I don't think if Wavebreaker had a different seating arrangement, we'd see a better result in terms of a final ride.
If it's worth anything, Skull Mountain is a 44-inch height requirement.
And that's
I can
Technically, I mean, that is a Intamin family coaster. I mean, it's old, but
yeah, it's not really the same.
I can see why Busch Gardens would want to go with these trains, though, to like attempt to differentiate it from Verbolten, because this coaster is going to be compared to Verbolten like relentlessly.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess I could see both sides of it. I just think that, I think Busch Gardens Williamsburg does have the same problem that Cedar Point does. And, honestly, we hadn't gone, my family, like my mom, sisters, and my niece and nephew, we usually once a year, we take a trip to a park farther away somewhere. They live in Pittsburgh, so Busch Gardens would fall under that category. We haven't gone to Busch Gardens Williamsburg because there was nothing for my nephew to do. Like, it would have just been pointless for him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the same with Cedar Point. Like, he loved going to Cedar Point when he was under 36 inches because they have 3 kiddie lands. But then once he got above that point, there's nothing he could do. And Busch Gardens has the same problem. And that, that was just, that's something that I think they need to look at. It doesn't mean anything. Like I said, it's this coaster. It's just something they need to consider.
Zach, it seems like you did a splendid job at explaining this project, because most people seem to be appeased with the information you provided. Don't have much more to add or ask. Again, if you guys want, I'm just going to plug it in one more time just in case anyone's new or isn't aware quite yet. You can go to our Discord. We have the link up. We have quite a few people that joined. So if any of you that joined want to head back over, ask a question in our text channel, question for Darkoaster, and then join the waiting room, we'll get you on in here and you can ask a question. Just as that, what was it? Was it Monorail that just, was that their name? Their username on Discord just asked. Again, it's wide open. Got a great chance of getting your question answered here.
I think it's one of those things where I know more about the coaster than probably is in the article, but like bringing it up is difficult. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense. Like if anyone has any questions about the ride, shoot them over, because I might know the answer. I just like volunteering everything I know about the ride is difficult in article form.
Do you know if this project was, I mean, I don't want to say planned because that's not the right word, but was this something they had in mind pre-COVID? I didn't get to read the unsolicited Darkoaster stuff, so that might be answered in there as well. But do you know this is something that they've been thinking about, reutilizing that building with the coaster?
I don't know when, I don't know if this has been like processing in the minds of the development team for longer than since Dragonspire was approved, but I know 100% that this was not going to happen until after Dragon Spiral, until fairly recently. This has been pushed up and fast-tracked.
Okay, I got you.
So this seems to be like the equivalent of Tumbuli.
I'm glad.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, it is.
Another way to think about it is this is sort of the equivalent of what happened with Finnegan's Flywheel, because Project Madrid was scrapped at the last minute, and they shoved Finnegan's Flywheel in there.
Which I think turned out beautifully. They do a good job at rapid development, it seems.
Yes, they do.
Mm-hmm.
SNS apparently is a stopgap company. I mean, Intimate in this case, but it seems like if you think back through, SNS is, oh yeah, we could do that quick.
Sure, we'll pop it up.
Someone in the Discord asked about tie-ins with the original Darkcastle. A lot of basically any theming that is currently left from Darkcastle is marked for retention in the new plans. That they don't seem to be demoing like anything Darkcastle. A lot of it's been gutted for a couple years now to make room for the special events that they host there right now. But anything that's left, that stuff seems to be staying. So that's a good sign for everyone who's rooting for like a Darkcastle tie-in.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder if we'll see them bring back things. Not necessarily like they have things in storage, but if they completely
recreate them.
Exactly old set pieces. And like I would love to see those wicked trees that were at the very beginning, that would be awesome to have, like maybe in the queue area or even like in the ride area itself. Just small details like that would be great.
My absolute dream, like if I could have anything from this project, it's that the park bring back Falcon's Treehouse to do the creative side of the theming here. They walked with Falcon's Treehouse with Battle for Isle, so the relationship seems to sort of be there. And I can imagine Darkoaster almost as a sequel to Darkcastle making so much sense. Like even story-wise, I can imagine Darkoaster with on-ride audio and like literal lines from the original Darkcastle used.
Mm-hmm. I 100% could foresee that. I was thinking that before we even got on tonight, that would be something cool to see with this ride if that was what we're looking at, and I'm glad it is. I hope they're able to. I know we talked before the show because Bob had mentioned how many show scenes are there going to be, and you were like, well, I don't know if any. But I do want to mention I think Hagrid's actually does a good job of not really stopping per se, but keeping pretty much motion active the entire time, and still having a story throughout. So I think we could. My thought is we could see quite a bit of show elements happening around us without actually fully stopping completely. And like maybe like when we're doing that switch area, you're going back there.
Yeah,
that could be something.
I was thinking the
there.
bypass track could be.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, a really good place to do something.
For sure.
The bypass track is really fascinating. This isn't in the article, but we're pretty sure that there are actually drive tiles throughout the S-curves on the bypass track. We don't know if that's to like recovered valleyed trains, because theoretically trains could valley there from launch 1, or why those exist, but it's really, really strange. And it's another like aspect of the ride where you can see that the engineers had like really struggled to make this walk.
So what? I'm sorry, I missed what you said on the bypass track. I caught everything you said except for that.
It seems that there were drive tiles.
Well, see that I was kind of thinking the same. I was kind of thinking that would be an area that if you had a show scene, you could slowly just drive through it. Like that's what I was thinking. I mean, you have a break area, so obviously you have to move to get to launch 1. So, like I was thinking, you could just slowly progress through there and actually have like a, I don't know, you could kind of create the dark ride experience going through that bypass track, and like a short section where it's kind of like that, the old Dark Castle experience. I mean, it would be short, but it would still be. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? What like?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, we hesitated to like predict that would be taken too slowly because the track is actually like quite banked through there, which suggested speed. Yeah, it's deeply weird. Drive tiles on banked curved track.
It is.
That is
It's
weird.
yeah, not something that I've encountered before.
No, maybe they're
Wow,
purposely
that
leaving
is
it
puzzling.
like ambiguous for us to try to like decide. Like they're like, let's just throw some drive tires on there, make it weird for them.
Well,
We know BGW fans are gonna get their hands on this. Let's just make it weird.
Zach, have you ever been to Idlewild and rode the Vekoma Mouse?
Yes, I have, with its tilted lift
Yeah.
hill.
Yeah.
Oh, it's delightful. I love that thing.
So maybe something like that, just like just a little
Wacky for
quirk.
the sake of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why would you climb a lift hill sideways? Why not?
There's no engineering genius to it. It's just fun.
Now that's gonna puzzle me
And until the day
for the next
just
year and a
ride it,
half. This
yeah.
is just gonna torture me now. Why?
I sort of hope we don't get the answer to that because I really want the park to keep the secret in their marketing. I think that, like the drop track on Verbolten, it really has the potential to catch a lot of people off guard.
Yeah, it'll benefit from a little bit of secrecy for the riders and the marketing team as well. They'll get a good kick out of that.
I gotta say, there's nothing better than riding Verbolten with somebody that's never ridden it before.
Unless they hate it and start punching you after, because that happened to me. Did not like that drop track. Got very upset with me.
Josiah is saying he pities the maintenance has to take care of those bank drive tires. I don't really know. I don't know if that would be. I mean, Intamins are pretty well attached to the track. I mean, the trains are pretty well attached to the track, so I don't know that. Actually, I kind of think that might be easier because you wouldn't have to like necessarily get under it for everything. They might be like accessible, like easier to access. Rather than getting down, they'd actually be angled up at you.
And the bypass track is a section of the building that is going to be...
Oh, sorry.
That is a section of the foundation that's going to be trenched out. The entire bypass track is like... The floor below it is dug like a foot or two below the rest of the foundation.
Mm-hmm. I think, but Joshua is saying is that it's going to be... routine maintenance is going to be necessary more often because there's going to be higher stress placed on those drive tires because it's coming at like an angle. I think that might be what he's referencing. Not like the actual access to them is going to be obstructed, but
that's why I'm wondering if it really is for valley recovering.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's not normally in use, but if valley's on launch one.
I don't think they would use these if it wasn't necessary. Yeah, I don't think this is something like it would be funny if it was just completely for like we said with the Idlewild. It's just like, why not add something creative and fun and different? But I think it would, like Josh was possibly saying, be a kind of a maintenance hassle to have to keep doing it if it wasn't an absolutely necessity for the ride to function.
So there's a follow-up question to the question that was in Discord.
Oh, about Glissade?
Oh yeah, I was trying to figure out. Yeah.
I don't know. That's another thing that's probably going to be theming document related. We saw that kind of stuff done with Battle for Isle. It had callbacks to every previous inhabitant of that space, but that stuff happens well down the line.
That would be interesting.
Indeed.
So, there was another question in YouTube. Horse's Boy was asking, he said, please tell me the wolf statue from the queue was saved. You have any idea if that was saved, Zach?
I don't know the status of the large wolf statue in the middle of the queue maze, but I do know that at least one of the wolves from the entrance was damaged.
Oh, damn it. I thought you were going to say we're saved. That's what I was just about to act. You set me up for failure there.
One of them was broken. I don't know if it's repairable, but it would definitely need repairs before being reinstalled.
I was about to say, are the two guardian wolves still there? That's upsetting.
Hopefully, the fact that all this stuff has already been created would make recreating something like that a lot more trivial.
Yeah.
And again, that would be a reason to contract Falcon's Treehouse again. Really hoping that happens. They did such a great job with the original Darkoaster. The original Dark Castle. I almost feel like they deserve the chance to go and make it successful.
All right, we have a question queued up.
All right.
Okay.
Take it away. Maybe.
We have a question bouncing between the waiting room.
It's queued up, but it's not coming through.
There we go.
It was bugging out for me. I know they got rid of the Dark Castle pre-show pretty early on into the ride's run, and then they brought it back, sort of. But do you think we'll see a similar thing where they have a video playing throughout the queue, or a pre-show? Because it would be interesting for them to explain the original Dark Castle backstory if this does connect back to Dark Castle, or it's an entirely new theme. That they would do a pre-show of some sort, maybe in the station as the vehicles pull up and doors open to reveal the train or something. That would be cool.
Well, the original Dark Castle pre-show room is still totally going to be intact with this project. So if they wanted to do a pre-show, they could just use the pre-show room again. There are queue rails through that room in the plans. That doesn't mean they won't operate the doors, because there were times after they added railing to that pre-show room for Dark Castle when they did operate the doors. I just don't have a way of knowing whether or not they will be doing that here.
Because I was thinking something like Wicker Man at Alton Towers, where they have that video playing in the station. Mm-hmm. So it's not an operational issue where they can just have the video playing as the trains cycle through.
I definitely think that the pre-show room will probably show a video of some kind relating to the ride. Just don't know how it's going to function exactly.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, keep.
It'll be interesting to see what the queue does look like. You look at Verbolten and how themed that queue is, and it's you don't really realize how much queue can add to a coaster until you actually experience it. Yeah. Even the Flight of Fears. Oh, you look at Kane's Dominion versus Kane's Island. King's Island is just leaps and bounds better just because of the queue. Well, there's a couple other reasons, but
that's something that reusing Dark Castle is going to really help them with, because almost everything from the queue through to the pre-show through to the station still remains a Dark Castle, and all that stuff was top tier.
Yeah, that's
they can replace the video content and be off to the races with one of the best themed coastal queues out there.
Yeah, and that kind of almost, like you were saying, that kind of almost, it doesn't require them, but it almost does require them to go with the original of Dark Castle, because I forget the name of who it was you were talking about.
Falcon's Treehouse.
Yes.
Yes, an Ocean Engineer.
Hopefully, even the same people would still be there.
Yeah, I think theming is really going to be the deciding factor in this ride's success. I mean, like you said, I think earlier, Zach, it could be a fun, cute little family coaster, or it could be a massive, important cornerstone ride for this park. And I think that's all going to be dependent on the theming and how they utilize already existing theme with maybe some new stuff as well. I really think that's the, and I was thinking that leading up to this article as well, because you had said that you thought they would utilize some theming, but you didn't know to what extent. And I was thinking, depending on that extent, this ride could be complete. It doesn't matter the ride type; it could be completely changed from a great to a good, or a good to a great. So.
And I will say, I'm hopeful in that we see that themed wall that separates the load unload area from the ride area, that's going to be extended. And from what I see in the plans, it seems to be that they are extending not just the wall, but the theming on the wall.
Which is great.
And hopefully that's a really good sign for what they're planning to do here.
Yeah. I think this would be a complete and total, I think most people would agree, kind of remedy for Pantheon. Like, I would be greatly excited if they decided to theme Pantheon, but they're not going to, obviously. We're already looking at what they're going to have for Pantheon. And I think this would totally remedy that for most people. And this would be completely awesome if they really went all out with this ride.
Vesta Italia has always felt like a get-out-of-jail-free card for the park as far as theming goes, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, they can put anything there they want, and I don't feel like I can get too upset about the thematic condition of what goes there, because the initial build-out was not up to the rest of the park at all.
Kind of iffy already, yeah.
Oktoberfest, and especially Dark Castle, that's a whole other story,
it's
though.
Known for that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, the plans that I saw for Drakenspire did inspire confidence in that area. Like, they were going to have a story and actual theming for Drakenspire. So I hope that same spirit is alive and well post-COVID.
I concur. Completely.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I'm more. I think going forward, it seems like they are very interested in building really great attractions. They're just getting less and less interested in taking. Like, I kind of like. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that feels. I don't think I am, but like.
You're not.
Yeah, it just it's almost that anytime Busch Gardens or SeaWorld announces something, like I'm pretty confident it's going to be a pretty spectacular ride. But at the same time, I question whether it's still going to be a spectacular ride 10 years after it opened.
Yeah, kind of like for Bolton. I'm just kidding.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
totally
even
I'm talking about the actual
100%.
like, not the theming. I'm talking about the actual fact that it vibrates so badly. But that was kind of just a poke.
Oh, well, you can shut up.
But yeah, with Bolton in regards to theming, for sure, I think we can all agree on that.
I mean, even I don't really. I just know, like, really well. I know in the last few years how much has been lost. And people say, like, how much. Obviously the roof.
Yeah, it's long-term quality assurance that we can't really guarantee from this chain right now, I think. That's
but they do seem interested in building really good attractions.
They do.
This
exactly.
seems like it's
They're
going to be another
heavy,
one.
but it's not like, it's like that investment after it's been in place is kind of like we're leaving it off there. Like it'll survive on its own. It'll do what it needs to do, and we're not going to really deal with it and improve it at all or help it maintain its initial attraction. Like this ride could be great, but like you said, 10 years down the line. who knows?
So, sort of tangentially related to this whole Darkoaster for Bolton discussion, something that I've been thinking about lately related to this project is that the fact that Darkoaster is going to exist may actually benefit for Bolton a lot. For Bolton's been like the park's workhorse coastal since it opened. They operate it constantly because everyone loves it and it's so accessible to so many different like types of riders. I could see a world in which opening Darkoaster could allow the park to take for Bolton offline for even just if it's a full off season to do some actual work on the coaster and especially the condition of the theming in the event building. I can see where up until this point that's been really difficult to justify, but in like my dream scenario, that's what we'll see.
Yeah, and this definitely is a ride that they can operate during Christmas Town for sure. So
all the way through January and February, which is exactly what the park desperately needs right now.
Exactly. Yes.
Does that building have heat? And air conditioning?
Yeah, I believe that it's all AC and heat.
Yeah, it does because they're doing the Santa workshop, and I actually walked through that, and it was pretty warm in there. So
cool.
Yeah.
Or hot.
Yeah. Not only is this a coastal that's going to be able to run all season long, but like all weather too. Weather is something that killed operations at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. And we get so much rain in the spring and the summer that it really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, fortunately, this isn't going to have the disaster transport either. Where it rains inside too.
And I don't know. Would this be? This would also actually be able to operate in probably lightning thunderstorm scenario as well, as long as the park is still wanting to operate the rides. Obviously, I know they have like different weather codes where they'll like shut down all rides depending on if it's a certain code. But if they're still willing to operate it, I'm sure they'll continue to operate it.
Isle would go down. Isle would go down under a different weather code than most of the coastals would. So I imagine this would be the same. Yeah, the same group as Isle was.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, huge difference operations wise.
And actually, that'd be a lot. I mean, if you think about it, if you have a ride that's has both heating and AC, I mean, that can also make it easier on the ride and improve its reliability. Being able to maintain the environment. Because let's face it, coasters that get hot, things start happening. Get cold, things start happening. If you could just keep it at an ideal temperature at all times, that'll actually help.
Yeah, and keep it dry too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That as well.
Yeah, moisture is not fun with coasters.
Like, you understand why it doesn't happen often, because the initial investment to build a building for a coastal like this is enormous. But the park already has it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like this is just such a good use for that space.
Yeah, it definitely is.
For sure. No doubt.
So again, if anybody does have any questions, you can join our Discord. If you want to ask live, you can join our Discord and jump in the Questions for Darkoaster channel. And Timmy will work with you to get you on the show. Also, if you don't want to talk to us, you can feel free to ask questions in either the Discord or the YouTube live chats.
We understand we're a big deal. It's kind of nerve-wracking to come on here and talk with us. We get it,
Yeah, I'm sure that they're intimidated.
We don't know. You might be. It's okay.
I hope we're one of like the least intimidating batches of people imaginable.
As long as you don't talk again.
As long as you don't hate on Verbolten.
That too. More so Volcano though.
Yeah. I don't know anyone that hates on Volcano. Though. I don't know. I don't think I've ever met anyone.
No, that's actually very true.
Yeah. It's either I wish I'd ridden it or I rode it and it kicked ass.
Yeah. So also, just to confirm, Zach, I mean, it looks like pretty much answered, but it's not directly answered. This is entirely in the building, right? It does not go out.
Entirely in the building.
Okay, and the whole queue as well?
So, have you walked through the Dark Castle queue for, like, any of the Hallow Scream houses or anything?
No, I don't really do the Hallow Scream stuff.
But we need to get him down for Christmas Town, and even we can do the Santa walkthrough, and you can walk through and see the queue. Well, actually, I'm thinking about it. Christmas Town ends tomorrow or this weekend, correct? So
yeah,
it's probably not going to come true.
After that point, the building will be a construction zone.
Exactly.
So there's an exterior queue that goes through like a hedge maze area around a large statue pedestal, and then the queue walks its way up elevated ramp area up to a covered section of the queue, and then from there it goes fully indoors towards the pre-show room.
Okay.
And
sorry, I don't know if this is actually answered in the article as well. Are they adding any queue, or is this all going to utilize pre-existing queue?
As far as I can tell, they are leaving the queue identical to.
So, I mean, that queue could not tolerate. I mean, what, more than an hour, 2 hour line? Because we know with Frostbite, they would use an extended queue outside. I mean, is that what we imagine? I guess will happen when this ride initially opens.
Yeah, that's exactly what I imagine. That's what they do with Invader still.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, I haven't seen any evidence so far of a longer queue. And given that with Pantheon, they cut all of the extended queue and it's just one walkway straight to the station now, I don't think I would bet on them adding any queue.
It's a little unfortunate.
Going back to my leak of Project Penguin, even the queue there looked super undersized, so much so that they specifically designed in an overflow queue down the pathway. So I think this might be a trend.
All right, I do have a question that's kind of sparked, so I'll mention Fig just said something. He just said it's going to have a lot of launches. We obviously know that's been kind of a direction the park's been heading in for quite some time now. Is that an actual mentality that the park has? Like, do you know anything about their mindset? Is it something they're striving towards to kind of be put on this echelon of we are the launch coaster capital of the world, so to speak, or is that just happen to be in their cards right now because the corporate is saying, hey, we got you these coasters?
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a specific goal inside C's or inside BGW to become the launch coastal capital of the world, but it seems like they're at the very least accidentally going to end up that way.
Whoops.
Yeah, exactly.
World's most beautiful park and launch capital of the world.
It's sort of been my impression that the park just sees launches as like an efficient way to get people going fast and high. Steel prices are up lately, so I can see where launches are making a lot of financial sense for new coastal construction, especially when there's not a power supply concern. And it's my understanding that BGW's grid is in very, very good shape now that Dominion has run new lines across the James.
That's excellent.
They're taking all Volcano's power.
That's why Volcano closed.
That's why Busch Gardens has all the power.
That makes sense. Kings Dominion's like, we know our power infrastructure is going to be bad because Busch Gardens is, we can see.
Isn't there actually a power plant somewhere nearby, like in between the two parks?
There's a big
Yeah.
nuclear power station at Soy. I don't know if that's the one you're talking about.
I don't know if that's what
Where
they're
at?
referencing.
Wait, where'd you say it was at?
Soy. It's across the river.
Okay. I mean, that definitely helps.
Yep.
I think we're gonna have somebody. He actually brought up a couple things in chat, and I wanted to bring him on and talk about it.
All right.
There we go. I think we got him now. Brian, you there? I think you're.
If you're muted if you're not
Muted.
aware. If you can unmute yourself, unless you're not knowingly muted. If you're purposely muted, I mean. All right. Well, we wait for Brian. We can we can keep talking. Just jump on in, Brian, when you're ready. So.
But yeah, you were saying about the power plant. Having a power plant nearby definitely helps. And I'm sure that, it's cheaper to run higher lines there.
Yeah, now that I figured out how
There
to
we go.
unmute myself.
There we
Thank you.
So Brian was talking about the height requirement.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes.
Yes, you are. You're good. So you were talking about the height requirement at Cedar Fair in the Seapelt days. You were saying like Wild Mouse was 42 inches. Are you still there?
I think you might have dropped out again.
Well, anyway, he was saying Chad.
Okay, all right. It was just
there
a
you go.
delay.
Oh yeah, are you listening to the audio from Discord or from YouTube? Because if you're listening from YouTube, you need to switch over to listening from Discord because
Yeah.
there is going to be a delay.
Yeah, so yeah, I think Wild Mouse was 42 inches, and the big ones, Rebel Yell, Grizzly, were 44.
So it seems to be like Cedar Fair has something. I don't really know what their deal is, but a lot of older rides, they seem to do this higher height requirement on. Like that's the problem with Cedar Point with the with Iron Dragon and Cedar Creek Mine Ride. Those are both 48-inch height requirement rides, but any other chain, those are actually 42-inch height requirement rides. It seems to be the same with like the PTC trains. There's so many. I mean, you go to Knoebels, Twister, and Phoenix are both 42-inch height requirement, and those are the same trains that are on Grizzly. Well, Twister is the same trains that are, and they're on Grizzly and Rebel Yell or Racer 75. I think we lost him again.
Yeah, I think it is possible he's dropping out. I'll put him back in. But I don't know how long he'll stay.
Yeah, it's kind of a confusing thing. But it's interesting. It's interesting how the height requirements are changing with that.
Indeed. The manufacturer suggested height requirement seems to be more or less not ignored, but taken into consideration, and the parks kind of just like to manipulate that to fit. I don't know if an agenda, but like fit what they feel is the best, and that's. I mean, I don't always think that's the right course of action. I believe. I think Delirium, King's Dominion, is 52 inches, but the actual manufacturer suggested height requirement is 48. And so there's things like that where it's like, is that really? And they also have the older shoulder restraints. I mean, and the seatbelt. I mean, it's just, I think, overdone a bit. I think Cedar Fair wants to have this perception of we're safe, and that hurts ridership.
Yeah, not like legitimately. I don't think it really makes them any safer.
No, it doesn't.
But
if it really did, the engineers and the people that design the rides to be safe would be the ones to say, "Hey, this is the height requirement." Like it's just
Do you know anything about that, Zach? Like how SeaWorld tends to be? Do they kind of stick with the manufacturer recommended, or do they go higher? Or what do they generally stick with?
All I've ever heard about Sea's approach here is that they like to push manufacturers to have an even lower height requirement. Like they are typically the trailblazers as far as getting shorter people on these coasters.
Okay.
And like Invader has some of the only GCI trains out there now without seatbelts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that Stingray has seatbelts either.
No.
Well, what about other? Is that? I mean, we know Cedar Fair has to have seatbelts. Their insurance company requires it. So, are there any other parks outside of SeaWorld? I mean, SeaWorld doesn't have them, but does Six Flags?
Like Thunderhead, Dollywood has one.
Yep.
They have seatbelts.
The Hershey GCIs have seatbelts.
Oh yeah, they do.
There are not many GCIs out there without seatbelts.
At Beach Bend had seatbelts. So there's
wow.
a GCI.
That's interesting.
Interesting seeing as it's completely independent.
Yeah, they really bucked the trend with seatbelts on the GCI Millennium Flyers. And I think I read that Gwazi actually used to have seatbelts, so they actively removed them. Which I think is pretty impressive.
You'd give Cedar Fair heart failure.
And I mean,
that's impressive.
Well, Bolton doesn't have belts either, and at any other park, that would definitely have belts.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, definitely, if we're talking Cedar Fair.
You know, with this information, I'd love to see a conversation happen between B&M and SeaWorld. SeaWorld trying to push the limits of, like, less and B&M being, like, super cautious.
Well, I mean, you have the B&Ms without the seatbelts there. You have the Apollos. All the other hypers, or a lot of other hypers, have seatbelts on them, especially the Cedar Fair parks. I don't know about Six Flags. What is Raging Bull? Does that have seatbelts on? I haven't gotten up to Great America. But I know all the Cedar Fair B&Ms have, the hypercoasters have the seatbelts on it.
Yeah,
Nitro does not have belts, right?
Nitro does not, no. That's correct.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I think it's standard for them not to have belts. I think Cedar Fair requested them to be placed on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually true. But, I mean, well, there's also that angle of, I mean, I think Cedar Fair is the... I don't think it's even Cedar Fair. I think it's... But then, yeah, I mean, then we go back to the whole Raging Rapids debate. Like, does a seatbelt make you safer or less safe? It's kind of, you know, sometimes you can get into that too.
Horses Boy in the YouTube chat pointed out that yes, C's did give us the comfort collar, which is
one of the worst innovations of... I don't even know if we can call that innovation.
Yeah, it's not an innovation. It's a...
Deviation.
I mean, really seriously, I don't care if it makes people... Like, really seriously, I really think it... I mean, not that a lap bar could fail, but if a lap bar did fail, I think those comfort collars, like, increase your risk of death.
Yeah, they're rendered obsolete, I think, completely in the regard of being safe.
But let's think about this. If the lap bar actually failed, and you got tangled up in that comfort collar, like, It could actually break your neck. I mean, this is a far-fetched what-if scenario because, I mean, the lap bar is not going to fail.
Yeah.
Because it's redundant in itself. But if you actually think about the logistics of it, those things would actually make it worse.
I think it's possible. Based on body size, though, could be different. Like, larger person would probably be.
Well, that's
fine.
my point. My point is, it does not improve anything. If anything happens, it makes it worse.
But I think like if someone larger if that was to happen in their lap bar field, it wouldn't. Not larger in like their, but like just not a child or like just an adult-sized person that probably would actually catch them, and you'd be a little secure there. But like a child, I definitely agree with you, would possibly pose a serious injury from that. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know if those hooks would actually hold. That's the thing. I don't know. They're pointless. They're dumb. That's the bottom line. So why is that? Why? I mean, is that just purely because they think people wouldn't ride it? I mean, I know there's some people, but is that?
I don't know. I've heard both over the years. Some people claim that it was a manufacturer recommendation. Some people claim that it was a park request. Some people claim that it's insurance related. I don't know if we're ever going to get a great answer.
Yeah, that does seem weird though. That they actively remove seatbelts on a coaster and then add coaster or comfort collars on other coasters.
Yeah, it's tremendously bizarre. I don't know if there's like a quirk of the Premier trains that they're like specifically worried about. I have no idea.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think they make much difference. Like they don't bug me at all. I mean, they make it harder to. During the cycle, I don't even use them. I know some people. I know that's different for some people.
See, but if it's a manufacturer recommendation, as you mentioned, I don't think that's the case. I think that's probably the least likely because they've built.
Yeah, because you have phobia fear.
You've built, but you could say, oh well, phobia fear was built prior to, or actually it was built after Tempo still. So I guess you could say that. Yeah, actually that would be fair. That would be a fair one to cite. But there's been others like recently, even like past I think Tigris that have been built. Like I think there's a couple in like China or Middle East or something that are being built. And we know the John Wick one. Actually, never mind. That's the wrong. That's a 40 free spin. But there is one being built. I know there's one being built in Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia or something currently, and that one doesn't. I don't believe have them either. So if it was a manufacturer recommendation, I would think more parks would incorporate them.
So the one thing that differentiates the C's Skyrocket 2s is that they're the 3-train models. And theoretically, it means that the back row is subjected to higher negative Gs than on the 2-car models.
Sure, but why not then just have them in the back 2 cars? I don't know.
Sure, I agree. I'm not making an excuse for it, to be clear.
Yeah,
I despise
I know, I understand. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's one of the world's greatest mysteries.
I like how we've gotten from Dark Coaster to just general Busch Gardens Williamsburg talk.
So, Zach, will there be comfort collars on Dark Coaster?
There we go. Tie it in, Bob. That's what we were getting at, for sure.
I will burn my pass if there are comfort collars on Darkoaster.
Horses Boy said at the Ace event for Pantheon, SNS confirmed it was a C request.
Oh yes, they did. I recall that. I do recall that now that I think about it. It was in the Fest House. We had the Q&A with Premier and the park marketing department and a few others.
Yeah.
And then I think SNS did say that was a request.
On that great tour of the Pantheon site? Is that the one you're talking about?
Exactly. That was right before that. We got to walk out on the bridge that everyone's seen the exact same view of. Like I'm still currently seeing it when I go to Busch Gardens. Yeah, that was great.
Oh yeah, so Steph in the live chat brought something up, and I did know this, and I want to mention this. Cedar Point did have an incident on Cedar Creek Mine Ride, and that is when they put the 48-inch height requirement in place. However, they were going from no height requirement to 48-inch, if I recall the story correctly. So it was kind of a knee-jerk reaction that I guess has just always lived on. I mean, obviously, I think the child was like less than 40 inches that had that the incident happened with. But I always find it funny, like Iron Dragon. Before my nephew was 48 inches, I could go ride Iron Dragon and put my backpack on the floor, no issue. But my nephew could not ride the coaster. Like my backpack could just sit there, and it was safe. But my nephew was not allowed. I did want to mention that though, since we were talking about it.
And Zach, you were
I think we have somebody
along the lines of. I think you were talking about with what happened with SNS. Were you going to mention something?
Oh yeah, I was talking about the. Well, I was just talking about the.
I think Zach he's like interjected a little bit, but then you kind of.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't
mean to cut you off.
I didn't know if Zach had something to say, so I just wanted.
Oh, I honestly don't remember. Sorry.
It's okay. No problem. Totally get that.
All right, so we do have Mac in the waiting room. Hey, Mac, what's your question?
I agree.
Are you there, Mac?
Mock? Maybe it's Mock. Maybe we're saying his name.
He just said in the chat, uh-oh. So it looks like there's some technical difficulties there.
On his end, yeah.
If he can't get his mic working, feel free to ask in the chat. And
yeah, you can just type it
I'll
up
pick
for
it
us.
up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine too.
No problemo. We get it. Especially me and Bob, technical difficulties occur regularly for us, so. Oh, and there he goes. All right. Probably going to get a write-in from him here soon. But this is a great time. I'll just, while you guys are talking with him on the live chat, or in the Discord chat, anybody that is just now joining us again or isn't aware how they can, you're wondering, how do I get to the live stream? And how do I get able to live call into this live stream? You're actually going to go, we have a pinned message that has the Discord link, our Discord link. You'll join our server. You'll go over to the Questions for Darkoaster text channel. Ask your question. Timmy, our moderator / host, I think we've deemed him, will drag you on over into the waiting room, and then you'll get put into the chat, the actual voice channel with us shortly after there.
Okay, so we're just text chatting here. Mac's question was, is there any indication of the train design beyond just the ATV style seating? Clearly won't be a jet ski or four-wheeler design.
God, I hope it's not a jet ski or four-wheeler design.
That would be awful. Oh, man. That would be the worst. Like, it would be theming, but it would be the worst possible. Like, I would rather than just do nothing. Like...
Yeah, I think that the collective POC fans user base would have apoplectic fit.
Oh, God.
I don't have an indication on, like, the shells that they're planning to put on these trains, but from everything I can tell, it should be that same seating design that's used on, like, those jet ski trains and those motorbike trains. Mm-hmm. So the same, like, low back, I guess James can probably describe it far better than I can. I have less experience.
You're sitting in that, you're angled forward a bit, like an incline. It is like if you've ridden a motorcycle and you're leaning forward. That's why they call them moto coasters. You're leaning forward. It's a unique sensation, and thankfully Intamin does a better job with the restraint system, I think, than with Zamperla, who has that awful like lower back restraint. It's very odd, but Wavebreaker wasn't nearly as bad. I didn't think so. That's why I wouldn't say if this was like a Zamperla, I would say that I think the seating arrangement could greatly dwindle the ride's greatness, but I don't think with the Intamin variation, it's quite as bad. But yeah, that's just my take.
The response I'm seeing, not just from chat here, but overall on social media, seems to be overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, I can't imagine being upset with this. I think this is a fantastic addition. And again, I'm gonna keep hitting it. I think theming will be the major factor that transcends this ride from good to great.
For sure, 100%.
Do you know any? It's way too early actually to ask about that. I was gonna. Never mind. That question would be way too premature, I think. In the stage of development. Bob, now you're muted.
How am I? Oh, okay. Sorry. So I wanted to say real quick, Horses Boy, I accidentally muted you in the chat. I apologize. That was not meant for you, and it doesn't look like I can undo it. So
you cannot, because I did that. Remember, I did that a long time ago with my.
Yeah. So you'll be able to talk shortly. I apologize. YouTube registered 2 clicks and one went to the wrong one. Please forgive me. So one thing I wanted to mention, otherwise, I was thinking about something, and I recall this. I don't know that I have any evidence to back this up, but I think I recall that at some point when Hagrid's was in development, that they were actually discussing a different height requirements for the motorbike and the sidecar. Which makes me wonder, like, I would think logistically it just is easier to just have one height requirement, but it does make me wonder if, like,
you have 2 different size horses, maybe, if we're looking at horses. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, like, if this ends up being just like a standard seating arrangement, maybe this could actually be a lower height requirement than the 48-inch like we see on Wavebreaker and Hagrid's.
I was thinking maybe you would have, if it's true that Universal, I do remember that as well. If Universal was in talks with that and Intamin okays it, obviously, maybe Busch could, as you've said, they're kind of, Zach said they're kind of trailblazers in regards of pushing the manufacturer to the brink of, hey, can we get this as low as possible? Maybe they would say, if we do a larger horse and a smaller horse, could we get, a different height requirement for the different types that we have? I don't know.
I would think that.
I guess it depends on how, like, children focused we think this is going to be aimed.
Yeah.
I personally am getting the impression that this is going to be like Vorbolt and Teal, but I could be wrong. This could be aimed younger than I'm thinking.
Well, and if they're going with the Dark Castle theming, they're obviously not targeting a younger audience, because that ride scared kids. I know. I mean, I had a friend that I took on it with, and they came off the ride crying, and this is middle school. I mean, they were scared of that ride. So yeah, if they're going with that kind of dark theme, it's possible. You're right that they don't even really want to target that group.
Yeah, that's possible too. It may be a moot point. But then, sometimes, like, I look at my niece and nephew, they're finally getting to the point where they'll ride indoor rides because they don't like scary stuff. But then, like, I'd go to, like, King's Dominion Haunt, and I'd see, like, 4 and 5-year-olds running around It's amazing to me, like the tolerance that some kids have.
Yeah, there's definitely a big range.
For sure.
I mean, there's even the point that like I think my niece first rode Millennium Force when she was 7, and like everybody was like, "What?" But it's just that the comfort level of different kids.
Yeah, so it looks like this is going to complement Pantheon well, as kind of less intense, less severe version, somewhat. I mean, a multi-launch. You could possibly. Oh, do we know what do we know? Do we know Pantheon's height requirement yet? I don't even actually know if we do.
I think it was 48 inches.
Is it 48?
It's. I can look it up super quickly to confirm. I know where to find it.
Okay. Is that public though? Do we know that or no?
It was just officially published on their website the other day.
Oh, okay.
Because it has a max height as well that people were finding controversial.
Oh, I've seen certain, like I know RMCs have similar.
It has a minimum height of 52 inches and a max height of 76.
I thought 48 was kind of low. I was like, wow, 48, that seems kind of low. Yeah, so I guess this could allow for some younger kids to ride it as well. So it's a little bit of a compliment to Pantheon, I think, in that regard. Do we know price range for this? Do we know anything of that nature?
No.
Okay.
I do not.
A lot of money, I'm assuming. It's Intamin.
Yeah, I imagine it's not cheap. Hopefully a fair amount of the budget is going to non-ride components,
though. Yeah, thematics, sure. Mm-hmm. All right, well, unless we got any more questions, I think we've hit the story pretty well, and seems our live audience is kind of dwindling a little bit, so it's possible everyone's kind of satisfied with what they've gotten from it, the live stream here. And yeah, the article was fantastic, Zach. Really good stuff there. Great journalism, as always.
That's the hope.
Mm-hmm. Really appreciate it. Oh, actually, question that we got from, I'm very glad I just thought about this. I had mentioned earlier I got a question from a listener who could not join the stream, and they wanted to like pre-submit a question. The answer is going to be kind of quick and easy because I don't think either of us did this, but we got asked if we attempted to decipher the riddle from the Dark Castle post that Zach had made, and it was from Greg. He said he may or may not have helped in the project a bit, so I did not. I was unable to try to decipher that. I don't know if Bob did. I don't think he did either. Did you at all try to?
No.
Yeah.
I don't like using my brain like that.
Yeah. I figured I'm like Zach's gonna give it to us here soon, so.
The Cypher and the Penguin article was not easy at all. I think that it might have been too challenging, but people on BGWFans did manage to solve it. It was very impressive.
So, apparently Horses Boy did have a question that Timmy knows, but Horses Boy isn't around. Hopefully it's not because I accidentally kicked him again. I apologize if you're listening to this show later. Seriously, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. But maybe Timmy can hop in here and ask his question.
Hey, so yeah, he had a question. It was,
hey Timmy,
when do you think we'll start seeing like physical construction around the buildings? Since I mean, this will be a more tricky ride to construct, I assume, being like a small, tight, compact space. So, do you think we're gonna start seeing construction earlier on than we normally would for coasters, or?
I don't know when actual construction crews are going to get in and start hacking up the foundation and whatnot. But it's my understanding that walk on the park side of like gutting the building is going to start happening immediately after Christmas Town ends, and Christmas Town is ending in just a few days, so we could start seeing stuff come out of that building very, very soon.
And it's awesome. We're going to get to be at the park during times where typically, like, we probably wouldn't see a lot of that work going on pre-2021.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to rent a plane again.
Yeah, exactly.
We're probably not really going to be able to see much, from the park, because it's kind of probably be mostly indoors, I would assume. I mean, you might see a little activity, but
the employee lot behind Darkoaster, where I would assume that most of the staging is going to happen. You can see that from the railroad if you look down the service road as you near Invadal. So I anticipate many days of me camping out on the train and trying to get some zoom shots of the back of the building.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to reference. You also, if you're driving from the England parking lot, you can kind of drive around and see a little bit as well. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
So how about we say we're going to end the stream at 9 p.m.
Give them 10 minutes.
Eastern. Yeah, because I think some people are probably lagged. So let's just say that right now. If even if you seem like you're behind, if right now you're hearing me say 9, better hurry. But we're gonna plan on winding the stream down at 9 p.m. So get your questions in. Mac has another question. He said,
"Yeah, I see that about the traditional traditional support structure or a base frame. There are a ton of footers being put into the ground. A lot of the coaster will be on traditional footers and supports. There's a chance some of it maybe getting a base frame, especially the tones around the area after the first launch. I'm a lot foggier on the support structure that's being used there. It's possible that that's base frame.
There you go. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So how would they do that? Do they have to re-pour the footer in the concrete of the building, or do they just drill into?
Most of the footers for this attraction, they are going to be like drilling out areas of the foundation, putting in pilings, and pouring new footers.
Interesting.
Okay.
It's going, again, the construction logistics here are insane.
Yeah.
Indeed.
That's impressive.
So you're overall content with this project, right, Zach? You think this is a...
Yeah, I think that even the worst case scenario from this point on looks like a really solid addition to me, and I think that the best case scenario is like nearly park changing. I couldn't hope to be happier with what I see right now than I am.
Let me pose a hypothetical though. Would you prefer a Dark Castle reboot, or are you content with the coaster we're getting? Like, would you have preferred them bring back a dark ride, or is this okay in your mind and a better option?
I will always believe that BGW deserves a quality dark ride, a true dark ride. But I'm also a realist in that Seas is not in a place right now where they would do it right if they decided to. So I'm sort of happier that they're building attractions that they're good at right now versus attempting to do something that they would fail horribly at.
You're being a bit pragmatic, yeah.
So long term, I still am passionately in the BGW needs a traditional dark ride camp, especially with year-round ops. It still needs to happen eventually, but I am tremendously happy with what this is.
Yeah, I think that seems to be an overwhelming consensus. People seem to be happy. I know I'm happy. I mean, you tell me you're building an Intamin, I'm happy. Honestly, let's be honest.
Especially like a really weird, unique one, right?
I really wish we'd opened this up and had been B&M just to see what Bob would have done. Just to see his reaction.
I think this question might be a little old, but Anthony in YouTube chat was asking about Project Gemini at Waddle Country USA. I don't know that either of you are familiar with it at all.
No.
But pre-COVID and hopefully post-COVID, it looked like by public filings, that was going to be the follow-up to Aquazoid Amped, which still has yet to open. Project Gemini, as far as I know, is still proceeding. We got some positive public records movement on it. I want to say like a month or two ago. So it's probably 2023 alongside Darkoaster, yes.
All right, there you go.
Cool. So lots happening.
Oh, yeah. Always super busy in Williamsburg, it feels like.
Yes, they do a great job at keeping that like zeitgeist alive. They always have something happening. Always something excitement.
Yeah, and that's just new
it seems that's what
additions.
Kings Dominion lacks. You know, they seem to have like Kings Dominion has like buffer years where even, and it could be just because there's a lack. Not to be overly. I don't know. It might be. This can be where you kind of comment. But I think you guys are like, as BGW fans as an organization, able to consistently and all the time keep up to date with their project, even if it's something somewhat small, and that keeps the excitement alive. Kings Dominion, I don't know if it's just they don't do a lot of, or from your perspective and from KD fans' perspective, but it seems like BGW fans is able to follow along a little bit better, if that's true or not, or if KD is just not doing a lot, and so that's why you're unable to follow.
The public records environment in James City County is such that we really do get a lot of visibility into even like minor things that other parks would never have to take to the county that BGW always has to. And that helps a lot. But also I do think that just in general, BGW is an incredibly like active park compared to Kings Dominion or any other regional park, honestly. Like Kings Dominion, it feels like they often spend a lot of time sort of like in a stasis, but I think that that's only because it's next door to BGW. I think that it's about as active as most regional theme parks as far as development goes. BGW just like builds in an alarming pace.
Yeah, it always does seem like more going on. Although I kind of wonder if that's gonna change. I feel like Kings Dominion might. I don't know. I get this gut feeling that Kings Dominion has some stuff up their sleeves.
Yeah, I know of something, but it's definitely. Well, I have a feeling as well that Kings Dominion has something up their sleeves soon.
Kings Dominion feels to me like it's heading in a fantastic direction. The vision of the park that the leadership has these days, I think, is stellar. And I think that vision is something that BGW has been lacking. But the budget disparity between the capex at each of the parks is still just so enormous.
Yeah, there's definitely a discrepancy there.
Yeah.
And we're only talking about like big new additions here. At the same time that all this is happening, BGW is painting 2 massive coasters. Yeah. They're doing a bunch of infrastructure work on the dam. They're doing a bunch of renovation work on the bridge from Oktoberfest to San Marco. There's so much money going into development right now. It's really astonishing.
I was able to see them actually today while I was up at the park working on Alpengeist. It was cool to see. All right, well, we're coming to an end to the stream here. We're hitting about 2 minutes left, so any last-minute questions are welcome. If again you want to really quickly jump into our Discord, or if you want to ask in the YouTube channel, we have about a few minutes left here with Zach. Really appreciate Zach and his team over at BGW Fans
indeed.
for bringing us this. I know you guys are seeing it in this final article. It's really short, and I mean not short, but rather concise and pretty easy. I mean, how many minute read is this? What does it clock in at?
I think it claims it's 22 or something.
Yeah, so you're seeing it kind of in the short, quick little 20-minute read. But I mean, I know there was quite a bit of extraneous effort that was put into this project. So thank you guys so much for doing that. I know you guys probably thinking the live stream was work, and it was, but that is really where all the hard work came in was the actual creation of this article and finding things out and creating renderings and all of that. So really appreciate you guys as well.
So much thanks to not only you all, but also everyone else who contributed to this article. There was a paragraph at the beginning of the article where I listed some of the people, but it really is just so many people who I rely on to help bring something like this together. And they all deserve a ton more credit than I can give.
We did mention them as well because we thought that was worthwhile, definitely to give them shout outs. So everyone that was mentioned in that little subheading underneath the article there, one of the first paragraphs, definitely we appreciate you guys. All right, and that does it. It's 9 o'clock. I think our questions are gone. I think not our questions. I think our audience is somewhat gone. They've satisfied with what we got. They came, they left. So thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate. I mean, we all do this for you guys. I mean, we do the podcast. Zach does BGW Fans to produce content for you guys and for an audience to receive it and to interpret it and to have great discussion. We did this whole podcast so we could have great discussion with you guys. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in as well. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. And as always, you can check us out at coastertalkpodcast.com and obviously BGW Fans at BGWFans.com.
Indeed. So without further ado, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Have a good one.